Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Yeah, the old clock says it's 5 o'clock. Beer 30. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer, another Texas beer. This is Black Crack. This is Southern Star Brewing Company. They're out of Conroe, Texas. And Brandon sent this to me. I cannot get a lot of these Texas beers here in Virginia. So I have these wonderful subscribers like Brandon and Rico and a lot of you other guys that send me these awesome beers from around the country and around the world as far as that goes, for me to sample and review. Brandon, thanks again, my brother, for sending me this beer. This is a bourbon barrel aged stout, and this is their, according to what I have here, it's bourbon barrel aged buried hatchet stout. So this is a buried hatchet stout aged in bourbon barrels, and they're naming it Black Crack on top of that. So a lot of times these breweries, when they bourbon barrel it, they'll change the name up a little bit. Not just to say it's the same thing, bourbon barrel aged, they'll change the name completely because it's been in a bourbon barrel aged. And I don't know how long it was in the bourbon barrel. And it does have a price sticker on here of $10.99. So this one 16-ounce can costs $11. That's very pricey beer. That is very expensive beer. I hope it is worthy. I don't think that's for a 4-pack. Usually these big beers, especially they've been aged in bourbon barrels, they'll be $12 to $15 for a 4-pack. This is says 8.2% here on both their site, Great Beer and Beer Advocate. I'm not sure if it has it written on the can here. I do not see it written on the can, and they need to put that on there. They've got 2015 16 fluid ounce flavored stout ale, brewed and bottled by Southern Star and Black Crack, Southern Star Brewing Company, bourbon barrel aged buried hatchet stout. They need to put the ABV on the can, guys. They really, really do. It has 2015 on the label here. It has no can on date, so we don't know when in 2015 they put it in the can. So whether it was in January or December of 2015, we have no idea. And for this style of beer, it's a lot of times that's irrelevant. It's a stout, but it's not a huge stout. It's an 8.25%. It's not a 12 or 15% like a lot of them are. So would like to see some kind of canning date on that. We put this in January, February, or November or December, so you know, beginning of the year or the end of the year, so you'll know, oh, it's been in the can this long, or whatever. So this information I would like to see, and I'm sure a lot of other craft beer drinkers would like to see. So when you purchase this beer, you know the ABV, the IBUs, and when it was put in the can. That's the 3 things we need, guys. That's not rocket science. It's just 3 things: IBU, ABV, and the canned or bottled on date. It's as simple as that. Instead of writing 1,000 words of Uncle Fester or whatever did this, and we're brewing this in his honor, or what the frickin' ever. Put those 3 things on the can, and if you got room or you want to write something else on there, that's fine. will give us those three things: IBUs, ABV, and when it was canned or bottled on date. So, well, let's get on with this. This was sent to me, like I said, by Brandon, and he's down in Texas, so I do appreciate him purchasing, and shipping, packaging, and shipping these beers to me. It's not a cheap process. A lot of times these guys, my subscribers, will send me one beer from here and one beer from there and one beer from here, and then the shipping costs more than the freaking beer that's inside the box. So Brandon and Rico definitely don't do that. They usually pack the box pretty full of beers and get their money worth, but usually when you've got 10 beers in the box, and they're shipping by weight. So when they put that on the scale, they charge you accordingly. So Brandon, Rico, I appreciate everything that y'all purchase out of your hard-earned money, and then wrap everything, bubble wrap it, and put it in a box, then pay to ship it to me. I do appreciate it, guys. A lot of you guys have sent me beers over the years. We're coming up on 6 years of doing beer reviews. And I have a lot of people that have sent me beers over the years. So everybody that has sent me beers, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. This old guy, when I come home and I got a beer mail package on the porch, it's like Christmas to me. It really is. So let's get on with this one. Don't want it to be a monsterly long video. I think I've gone, it says here, commercial description, bourbon aged brewed hatchet stout. And this one says, aged in bourbon barrel, the specialty will have all of the rich malt flavor of its base beer. Our brewed hatchet stout, complemented by a caramel woody sweetness and vanilla notes from the prolonged contact with the American oak. Dark tobacco, medium char, and hints of the original bourbon make this hard to find release a real treat. Very nice. Food pairings for this style of beer, guys: cheeses and buttery brie go to Havarti, Swiss, and since it is a style, goes well to chocolate dishes, of course. And the meat is beef, smoked meat, game, and grilled meat. Glassware pint, Becker Nonic tumbler snifter, oversized wine glass. I got my snifter. This is a Sauvin beer glass, S-A-U-V-I-N. If you're looking for one of these, Google it. S-A-U-V-I-N. It'll tell you where to get it. Not a cheap glass, but it is a very heavy-duty, durable glass. Lasts you a lifetime if you take care of it. And can be sold for long periods under proper conditions. So we got that all out of the way, so it is time. Let's get the cap popped on this 16-ounce can. Not super black coming out of the can here. I am seeing it looks more like a cola coming out of the can. And like I usually say, I can't usually get all that poured into the glass. About a finger of head on that. Over into the light. Through the big thick bowl part here, I'm not getting a whole lot of light, but down through here, there are some red ruby notes around the thin part of the glass, around the outside here. So, looks pretty good. The wind's kicking up pretty good out there today. We had a storm come through and a cold front come through, and let's get down to about 40 degrees tonight. Very unusual for this time of year. Let's get a nose on this. Oh yeah, a little hints of the bourbon in there. I'm getting some big roasted malt and coffee and bittersweet chocolate. Maybe some toffee. Hints of dark fruit. Big roasted malts and hints of chocolate, bittersweet chocolate. More over than the bourbon barrelness. And like yesterday's beer, I was getting hardly in at all from the bourbon barrel notes on that beer. I'm getting a slight hint, and it's right out of the fridge. It's 40 degrees, so I got a feeling those notes will come out just a little bit more as I let it warm up to room temperature as I'm sipping on it, as I always do. But for an $11 beer for one can of an 8.2% stout, that's kind of pricey in my opinion, just my opinion. If it was a 12, 14, 15%er, yeah, I can see that kind of price. But for an 8.25 and a bourbon barrel, $11 is a big pop at one time for an 8.25%. Just my opinion. Well, it's time. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Brandon. That is very tasty though. Big chocolatey notes, hints of coffee, hints of dark fruit, dates, raisins, plums. Big sweetness on the back end. If I was guessing, I would say they brewed this with some lactose to have this much sweetness in the beer. Wow, very sweet on the back end. A nice dessert beer. Wow, that is very tasty. Very, very tasty. Not a big, huge bourbon notes on this beer. Now, like I said, it's right out of the fridge, so let's let it warm up and see if we get a little bit more bourbon notes as it comes up to room temperature. But right now, it's very tasty. I don't know if it's a 10 or not, so let me sip on it. I might go out and fire up a cigar out on the deck and sip on this for about 35, 45 minutes or so and see where this one ends up. I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, I'm back. I'm sitting on about 45 minutes or so. Very tasty. Now that it's warmed up to room temperature, I am getting the bourbon notes on this. Nice sweet stout. I would think they used some lactose on this brewing to get such a sweetness on the back end. Pricey beer, $11 a can. Pretty sure it's what Brandon told me, that this was $11, $10.99 for one 16-ounce can of bourbon barrel aged 8.2%. That is a little on the pricey side to me, but it's got some nice bourbon notes now. It's warmed up to room temperature, getting that chocolate, roasted malt, some hints of some dark fruit, molasses, candied sugar. Very tasty. Very, very tasty. Great beer out of Texas. Even though it's a little pricey, if it's $11 a can, that's a pricey beer. But it's bourbon barrel aged. Wow. A great dessert beer. A great after dinner beer. Or something with a chocolate. If you're eating chocolate cake or brownies or whatever, this would go great with it. Final chug. Wonderful aroma now. Awesome lacing left on the glass. Very well made beer. Very nice, very tasty. A great beer to finish up the evening with. This is what I'm doing, final beer of the evening for me. Very nice. Very, very tasty. The only fuss I've got about this, there is no canned on date on the bottom of it anywhere, and it doesn't have the ABV written on it anywhere, or the IBUs. God would like to see them put that on there. Tell us what the ABV is, tell us what the IBUs are, and tell us when it was put in the can or the bottle. That's the three things that craft beer drinkers and purchasers want to see. They want to see those three things, and if you want to go off in left field and tell us Uncle Fester or whatever inspired us to do this beer, or whatever that case may be, give us those three bits of information and let us make that decision, guys. Great beer. I do think it's an A beer, guys. I think it's very tasty. I don't think it's a 10 beer, and being $10.99, $11 a pop on each can, that is a pricey beer. That is a little too pricey for what we're drinking. If we were getting a 4-pack for between $11 and $15, yeah, I could see that. But $11 a pop, that's a little expensive. That is a very expensive beer. Tasty, but lacking information and a little on the pricey side as far as I'm concerned. It's my 2 cents. If it's $11 a can, 8.2%, I mean, if you're going to buy 4 of these, that's almost $50. So, a little overpriced as far as I'm concerned, if that's what the actual price is on this can. I'm pretty sure Brandon told me it was like $10.99 for each can. That is a little expensive. So you can get a bomber of a bourbon barrel aged for that. So very nice, very tasty. I do think it's an A beer, guys. I don't think it's a 10. I'm gonna give it to 9. If I was putting a numeric rating on this beer, great dessert beer, I would probably give it a 96 or a 97. Probably more like a 96 because it doesn't have the canned on date, doesn't have the ABV, and it doesn't have the IBUs. Let me make sure of that. Let me look one more time. It does have 2015 written on it. That's the only information we got. It was put in the can in 2015, but it doesn't have the ABV and it doesn't have the IBUs, which the IBUs are not important on this style of beer. But I would like to see it just for shits and grins, you know, just to know, is it a 30 IBU? Is it a 50 IBU? And being a stout, I would think it's probably a 50 or less. But we don't know. We have no idea. So with that being said, we'll go over to Beer Advocate. They say 90 in the outstanding range on this beer. It is an outstanding beer. And over to Rate Beer. Rate Beer says 98 overall and 75 in the style. So we have a 90, a 98, and a 95 for me. All A grades. It is an A beer, guys. Not quite to the 10 category. A little overpriced if it's a $10.99 or $11 beer per can. I think it's a little on the pricey side. And not having the ABV or the IBUs written on it. 2015 is all we got, so that's what we got to live with. So we don't know if it's January 2015 or December of 2015. That's why I would like to see a canned on date on the bottom of it, guys. So if you've had this one from Southern Star Brewing Company, this is their Black Crack, which is their Buried Hatchet Stout aged in bourbon barrels. So if you've had it, let me know what you think, guys. And as always, come on back tomorrow. Let's go see what's in the fridge. See you then.